All right, it's 10 o'clock. Calling the regular meeting of the Gilliam County Court to order. This is March 4th, and we're in Condon today. A quorum has been established, and we'll now have the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Are there any additions or revisions to the agenda? No. The only addition I have is a letter we received from the Pioneer Community Development Corporation regarding a housing study. It is in your packet, so we just need to add that under correspondence. Okay, 3.0 is a public hearing on Ordinance 2026-01 for fiscal year 2026-2027, Gilliam County Weed Control Special Assessment. I will read the process and the purpose of the public hearing and then open the hearing up for comment. The public hearing on Ordinance 2026-01, fiscal year 26-27, Gilliam County Weed Assessment is called to order. The county court would like to hear from the public on this issue during this hearing. The public hearing is your opportunity to comment on the ordinance before the county court makes a decision. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want you to give us your point of view. If you wish to comment on the hearing item, you will have an opportunity to do so. All persons commenting must be recognized by the judge. Please speak clearly and slowly and state your name and address for the record. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Regarding conflicts of interest, at this time, I would ask the members of the county court if they have a conflict of interest. All right.
My brother is the weed master.
Okay. Do you have a conflict?
I don't have any.
Okay. So you've indicated the nature of your conflict and the extent of the conflict. Are you going to be participating or abstaining from the hearing?
I think it's not a direct financial conflict, but.
All right. So you will be participating. Does any member of the audience wish to challenge the ability of any member of the county court to hear this matter? Okay, I will read the agenda briefing. The summary of the briefing is this is a public hearing for the purpose of gathering evidence as to the need for identifying who will benefit from and taking public input on the special weed assessment for fiscal year 2026-27. Once the hearing has been closed, the Gilliam County Court can proceed with the first reading of the ordinance. In order to adopt the ordinance, it must first be read twice, at least 13 days apart. So it must be read twice, 13 days apart. One thing I want to clarify, if you do read the ordinance, under page 2 of 3, it does give the total amount of the assessment, which appears to be $47,460.52. So, okay. We do have a couple of people who have signed up for public comment, and public comment is open to anyone else who would like to testify that hasn't signed in. The first person I have is Jennifer Bold. Would you like to come up? Hello. Come on up and you can sit right here.
I'm Jennifer Bold, Condon, Oregon, 1 block away. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to keep emotions out of this. I had to do a lot of writing to get to even this place to be able to come in here. So.
Now, this is regarding the assessment, correct? The weed assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what this public hearing's for. So I'm gonna just back up and make sure we understand. This is a public hearing and a special weed assessment.
Okay.
And you had signed up.
Comment.
Okay, that will come after the public hearing.
Well,
Okay.
I have a few more minutes to be anxious then, don't I?
Yes. Thank you. You don't have to be anxious. We're here to listen. All right. The second person I have for public comment on the weed assessment is Aaron Heidemann. You don't want, okay. Is there anyone online who has any comment? No. Okay. Is there any other members of the public who have comment on the weed assessment?
Max Stinchfield, large county property owner in southern Gilliam County.
Come on up so we can hear. Thank you.
Just speaking on behalf or in favor of the weed assessment. And I think those guys do a good job and I appreciate what they do for me on all of my 12 acres at me.
Thank you.
Thing I had was the 2065. Second page, bottom. Just a typo
Where are we at?
right here. It says 2065 instead of,
Should say 2026.
I don't think I'll be around by then.
Oh, we'll correct that. That's okay.
Anyway, that's the only.
I see now. Okay, we will correct that before it's fully adopted, correct? All right.
That's all.
Thank you. Where are we at here? Okay. We need to make sure we've given plenty of time for public comment. No more public comment. All right.
So I think I brought this up last time. How long has the weed assessment been at 7 cents an acre? You know that? Okay. I just wonder with the current financial of the weed department.
Yeah.
We should not revisit that, but I don't know what the process.
What the process would be.
Would be
Mhm.
to increase it.
It has to
It
be a
has
vote of
be
the
voted
people.
on. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And whether or not there's any statutory impact with tax limits or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be in favor of a huge increase, but as long as it's been around and the costs for chemicals and everything else is not going down. So we might want to think about.
Pursue that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or at least think about it. see.
Well, I think what we could do is, once we get through this process, create an agenda item at a future meeting to take official action on pursuing it. I don't think it would hurt to explore the steps now and just see what it would take.
Yeah, it might not be something we can get on this year's ballot, but maybe future ballots.
Okay. All right, the public hearing is closed. All public testimony has been received. The public hearing on ordinance 2026-01 fiscal year 26-27 Gilliam County weed assessment is now closed to additional comment. Is there any deliberation at this point in time? Okay. All right. So we have two motions. One, you can see in the briefing, is suggested. Do you see that in your briefing?
I
Yeah,
got it. All fine. You guys good?
Yep.
Also move to have the first reading of ordinance number 2026-01 by title only.
second,
It's been moved and seconded to have first reading of ordinance number 2026-01 by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The reading by title only in the matter of a special weed assessment within Gilliam County for fiscal year 2026-27, ordinance number 2026-01. Motion 2.
Also move to accept the first reading of ordinance number 2026-01 by title only.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the first reading of ordinance number 2026-01 by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So that's the first reading. Thank you. So will the next one be at the next meeting or the following? 13 days. Okay. And that will be in Arlington. And that's where it'll be adopted as well. Okay. All right. Thank you. We have correspondence and public comment. We'll begin with public comment. Those present who have signed up for public comment will have Jennifer Bold come up again.
I'm sorry, please.
Mhm.
All right.
So I just want to read, individuals wishing to address the county court may do so at this time and at other times throughout the meeting. Speakers are asked to raise their hand, be recognized by the chair, and give your name and city and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
All right, I will do my best. My name is Jennifer Bold and I am a 28-year resident of Condon. Good morning. After our last court session, I find myself driven here out of confusion and seeking clarification, not only for myself, but for both ends of the county. In my desire to understand what was going on in the county, I spent a good portion of Saturday in Arlington and met with constituents in Arlington. And there were a few things that I felt required me to come here and get literal on the record clarification from the court based on the feedback that I got of the community's understanding of the situation in Arlington. And that would be one, that the 10-year, $10 million investment in ECE is for the entire county, not just for the south end of the county. And that was said, and that was the understanding of this community member. And I would like that clarified on the record, that $10 million 10-year investment is not just for Condon, even though I have to say Condon has successfully used their funding in a way that Arlington has not. There was also a narrative down there that somehow ECE was going to have the time and energy to take on the funding of the elderly. That if we didn't get early learning funding, that somehow we were going to go after the elder population's funding. And so I don't know where that came from, but I just wanted to put it out there that it's divisive and it's fear mongering. Number 3, why do we have to take the money from ECE to begin with? And the narrative that other entities are gonna fail if we don't take money from ECE when there's 8 million unallocated dollars currently sitting in our county. This whole topic is contaminating our entire county. And the narrative that I heard is completely different from the narrative at this end of the county. So last and certainly not least, after standing in this very courtroom myself for almost 20 years, begging for every single penny that CELC received during that time, Arlington Child Care was present here as well. Many times, just like recently, they did not show up to court. And many, many times, this court has put conditions on Arlington Child Care's funding. Now, decades of this court, nor Arlington, has followed through. You have not followed through on the previous conditions in the previous courts, nor has Arlington Child Care followed through on continuing to receive funding with no outcomes or unmet outcomes. After receiving assistance for decades from the state, from Umatilla Head Start, from Condon Early Learning Center, and then imagine my surprise when Arlington doesn't show up for the budget meeting, doesn't show up for the last court hearing, and gets 100% funded with 0 conditions attached. And I want the entire county to know that that's where we're at. that no conditions were set on that $96,000. And so at this time, I would actually like an explanation on the disparate treatment between the two entities from this court.
This is a time for public comment.
This is public comment.
Yeah, we're just listening to your comment.
You're not going to answer. Okay, well, that's on record as well. So that's all I wanted to say. The narrative at both ends of the county are completely different. And I'm not willing to see this community crash and burn over a disgusting narrative that isn't true.
Did you have any questions?
I will just say that there will be more discussion when we have the first budget meeting. So
It's too late.
you'll be invited.
Okay,
I know, but.
there's decades of you guys doing this, and you're not
Well, I haven't-
responsible for past court not following through, but you are responsible for this court not following through. No conditions, no outcomes, no guardrails, no nothing. And the treatment that this end of the county gets, I never had a condition on funding because I always came in here prepared. Always came in here prepared. I never forgot to apply for a competitive grant process that everybody else had to go through. A competitive grant process.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. Is there any other public comment? Any online?
Just the chat. Said,
Oh, what is the
Did
chat?
I read,
We don't see it.
did I read?
Yeah.
Stacy Redding from Arlington stated that was not said, and said child care versus elder.
Okay. Okay. Stacy Redding said that was not said. It wasn't childcare versus elder care. Okay, thank you for that statement. All right. We have items of correspondence. First of all, we have a presentation from NORCOR. And are we ready for that? I would like to thank Autumn Ackerman. I'm sure she doesn't want to be on the spot, but she stepped in due to the vacation of Anya Mundy this last couple of weeks, and she's doing a wonderful job.
Hopefully Nicole's there.
She's joining. Okay.
Good morning, Court. If you can hear us, bear with us as our camera starts to load here. Here we go. All right. I want to first just start out by introducing myself, Nicole Beekler. I am the business manager for NORCOR. And I do actually have live and in person today, Monica Morris with us.
Hello.
We will get started with the first part of the presentation. I will present just the history of why the audit assessment came to be, and really truly just the financial perspective, which Monica will dig into as we start moving forward. So bear with me as I load the first. Oh, looks like I'm going to send another share request that's not letting me open. There we go. All right. I will also start by saying, Court, thank you for your flexibility in allowing us to present today. I know there was some confusion the last time around, so we will just get to the point as quick as possible on this. So the audit assessment review took place at NORCOR as a recommendation from our board to really look at finding financial sustainability options as we move forward. So out of that, a cross-functional team was convened. They started meeting in September of last year, and we had representation from both our Sheriff's Oversight Committee the Juvenile Oversight Committee, as well as the members of the management team at NORCOR. We did have Monica as part of the financial analysis, and then also a facilitator, Christy Deer. And so out of those meetings, what we did is we took the audit assessment that was conducted by a independent third-party consulting firm and categorized the recommendations that they provided, suggestions, so on and so forth, into 4 categories. Whether next steps were required, what potentially we could actually put in progress, whether that had already been completed, and whether additional consideration may have been needed. A lot of that was categorized due to financial constrictions that NORCOR faces. So as we move through some of these slides, you will see just again how we categorized each of those recommendations that came out of the assessment. For juvenile recommendations, again, you can kind of see what was in progress that we're currently working on. I think the biggest recommendation that came out of the juvenile side was additional professional development and training. This is something, again, that we've been working on. There have been things conceptualized, but ultimately really just digging more into those opportunities for continued development within the staff that we currently have.
Hey, Nicole, can you go to your 3rd screen where you're talking about that, please, so the audience can see it?
And
We have the 1st screen, 1st page up, but you're on the 3rd page.
So it's not progressing forward. Okay, let me close out of this. Oops. Maybe. Why can't I close?
You can see the other pages on the left side, but you're still on.
It's just
only
not. Okay. Let me
Scroll down.
I'm gonna do this. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
And then I'll blow it up a little bit here. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. So again, just as far as things that we need to take consideration or those objectives that we may not have actually been able to implement at this juncture, you can see really truly there were some things as well working with the consultant that we realized may not actually be feasible in the state of Oregon, or just kind of a lack of statutory requirements based in Oregon. The consultants were based out of Colorado and Texas. And then for adult recommendations, trying to make this as visible as possible. So certain things that have been in progress, I mean, really kind of simple things, emergency exit signage. You would think it's simple when you're in a jail facility. You don't necessarily want to know those that are in your care and custody how to get out of the building. So those are things, again, you really have to think through. Staffing shortages, we have been short-staffed for the 2.5 years that I have been here. And so it was not a surprise that that was something that came out as far as just additional attention needed and necessary. I am happy to report that since the assessment's been conducted, the shared services is currently fully staffed. Our juvenile team has 2 vacancies, and on our adult side, I believe, is currently at 5 vacancies. But we do have some people in background, so we're hopeful to be fully staffed here soon. In addition to things we really were able to just easily do, numbering of exterior doors, unclosed searches. Really, this was just a matter of, we have a machine that individuals walk through, which is kind of a full body scanner. But at times too, there may be something that that machine may not necessarily be picking up, or may have picked up something that really wasn't any concern or harm to staff. And so just being a little bit more thorough about, about how we're conceptualizing those searches when people are coming into our care. Questions so far at all on anything you're seeing on the screen before I move to the shared services side? No, okay. All right. For shared services, when we talk about shared services, I will say we're talking about human resources, our finance team, our facilities maintenance team, our medical team, and then just essentially the business manager responsibilities, so legal contracts, so on and so forth. So when we looked at just recommendations, there was a thought as to whether or not we should be reducing staffing. And that could come potentially from the facilities department as far as what came out of this assessment. We don't have additional resources at this time to conduct a time study, but that is something we can look forward to in the future if necessary and if approved by the board. Things that are currently in progress, just an audit of our maintenance tools, just from a control compliance perspective. We really want to ensure that everything that we're utilizing on a daily basis for any sort of infrastructure improvements, that we're not losing sight of those, that they're not being left behind, where potentially youth or juvenile could use that as a weapon. So that full inventory has actually been completed. In addition to approving documentation practices for OSHA, I will let the court know that we did a full, extensive voluntary OSHA study. And again, something that's been completed that no longer needs to be in the in-progress portion. And then just supervisor accountability, a lot of just professional development, so on and so forth. As far as things that have also been done, inspection and enforcement, use of workplaces, minor issues have been addressed. And so again, appreciate that there's actually a lot that's come out of this assessment that has been completed for NORCOR. Moving on to shared services, more so specific to our information technology department. Potentially looking at reducing the FTE status for that team. We're looking at outsourcing. I will let you know that we are currently looking to sign an agreement with Wasco County for IT, primarily because our current IT manager is retiring, and we really need to put in a temporary succession plan for the remainder of this fiscal year. And then looking forward to having a broader team to be able to meet the technology needs that we currently have in place. So a lot of that currently is in progress. The cost split again is something that we've reviewed with Wasco County and why we made the agreement to move forward with their services. From our medical clinic perspective, really, truly, I think it was LCSW oversight. We had a position open for quite some time. Again, I'm happy to report that position has been filled. And so happy to also report that that has allowed us to continue a lot of programs for the adult side and the juvenile side that were previously put kind of to the side just because we didn't have enough staffing capabilities. So excited that that is now continuing.
So what is LCSW?
Yeah, great question. So it's the licensed clinical social worker. So we do and have seen quite an increase in our mental health clientele post-COVID. And so really making sure that we have the appropriate individuals on staff that can assist the medical team with that oversight. All right. From a financial perspective, I think always looking at just, hiring, staffing constraints. Thankfully, Monica agreed to step into the interim finance director role with us in February. And so that has tremendously helped just really streamlining processes and projects that, again, have kind of taken a back burner just from lack of staffing and availability. Let's see, jail bed metrics, just to be calculated on a regular basis. We are doing some of these things. There's a lot of stuff we can't necessarily capture, but data is being provided to the board now on a monthly basis. And so that's assisting just with what our accounts look like and ultimately where that financial impact comes in and where that additional revenue comes into play. Those items, as far as just being done, are really something that we couldn't necessarily incorporate. Looking at potential capital outlay, investments, looking at expenses. We have a capital outlay account, capital infrastructure projects, which we have tried to put money into, but ultimately, again, just depends on budget. Let's see. Some of these things too, Monica will talk about on the financial piece that in Oregon, the way that we budget and just how our income statements look like, they weren't necessarily things that were similar to Colorado. And so we had to take those under consideration. And then as far as general recommendations, just developing a strategic facilities utilization plan, really understanding, again, we have aging infrastructure here at NORCOR and really making sure that we're methodical and really thoughtful about our approach to continuing to keep these buildings thriving. feasibility studies for specialty housing, behavioral health partnerships. We do a lot of work with Mid-Columbia Center for Living as well as One Community Health, and really just capitalizing on how much of that partnership we can provide to each other as we're doing the best care and coordination for the adults in custody and the youth that we serve. So as far as projects that have been completed, just forming that working group tasked with reviewing and prioritizing the opportunities. And so ultimately that is why Monica and I are here before you today. Okay, any questions about anything that has been provided to you as recommendations by the audit assessment team?
Do you have any questions? Have you seen this before?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Commissioner Watkins?
Just, have they been talking about what our contribution is gonna be and
So,
coming up with the budget?
They'll address this in
Yeah.
the scenario.
if I may, Commissioner Watkins, Monica will get into the financial presentation. And so there's a few scenarios she'll present that will go into detail about your question.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So,
Sharing her slides. Just let me know when you want me to move forward.
Okay. Thank you for this time. I just wanted to say this team, start with, I'm Monica Morris. I am their contract finance manager, and I had the privilege of working on this cross-function team. And we put a lot of hours into this. There was a lot, like 8 or 10 meetings, 2 hours each. It was a great group. Represented all areas of NORCOR. And when we went through this process, we had some conversations that created a lot of emotions, right? There was some vulnerability there. There's some really honest questions, and the team did a great job going through this. So, and as I go through this with you, if you have questions, please stop me and ask. So really our process was, the whole goal is looking at how NORCOR can be solvent, right? One, is it sustainable, and then addressing solvency. And to do that, we went through this process. So we started with really going back to what are our statutory guidelines and requirements, meaning what are the counties required to do? And we went through all of those statutory, all the statutes. The sheriffs pulled them out for us, sent them to us. We read through them, and interesting enough, I learned that there is a lot more you shall requirements around the adult side than there is over the juvenile side. Now, on the juvenile side, there's a lot of best practices and a lot of guidance, but not a lot of very clear direction. So that was interesting. We next wanted to know that if we did the minimum of what you are required to do, what would that look like financially? And we went down that path for a little bit, and we learned that finance outlook is very expensive, right? Because we didn't have any beds, we didn't have any partners, we didn't have any US Marshals. So just having the bare minimum for the partner counties was really expensive. So we shifted on from there, and we wanted to look at our shared services. Our shared services, as Nicole said, is medical, finance, facilities, administration. And we really wanted to talk about what does that mean for the adult side and the juvenile side? How is it being distributed? How is the cost being distributed? Is it fair? Is it real? Because historically, your shared services has been split cost-wise, 90% adult, 10% juvenile. And there was the real question, is that real? So we spent quite a bit of time breaking that down. We went into the detail of that, looking at everything from invoices to staffing. We looked at facility needs. And from that, we learned that 90-10 wasn't too far off. The reality is it's closer to 80-20. So of this shared services budget, truly about 80% of it is adult related, 20% is juvenile related. And I believe that's about $3 million is the shared services budget. So, and of that piece, over half of that shared services, so it's like 1.6 million, is medical only. So the medical, which is one piece of the shared services, accounts for over half of the budget. And that's physical and mental health. So that's what we're calling medical. So the medical cost for NORCOR, it is significant, right? It's a real cost. So now we know what the counties need to provide. We know that the cost of scaling back isn't a path that really makes sense because of its cost. We looked at the true cost of our shared services so we can have a better cost sharing going forward when we look at the finances. So then we wanted to have a conversation like, why are we here, right? What is the cost of NORCOR? Let's look at our budget to actual. Why is it then when we budget, things are tight and we're desperately needing money, but our year-end actual is healthier than we thought it would be? Like, what is causing that? So we spent a couple of meetings digging into that and getting educated on that. So the group learned a lot, right? And they came away really more informed on government budgeting, how that works, and what the actuals mean and why there's a difference. And what we learned is the actuals have ended with a better ending balance than anticipated, usually because they just could not fill empty positions. Now, some of it's because grants came in that were unanticipated, right? We were able to capture grants for, mental health services or medical services that we're already providing. So that's an increase in resources. But most of our ending fund balance came because we did not meet the unfilled positions, right? Which were budgeted to be spent, but were not spent. So we had a
Hold on just a moment. I'm gonna set some protocol here for a question from the audience. So could you write down your question and we can conclude the presentation? Anybody else who has questions?
Yeah.
We can address them that way. Okay? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So we're well educated on what's been happening. We went back about 5 years and we then did a look forward at 3 years. And we looked at some projections and we looked at throwing the budget out the window. And if we just use actuals, what does that look like? And then we talked about the budget, like you're budgeting these positions, but we're not filling them. So are they real? Are they needed? Like that was a robust, really in-depth conversation. And the leadership from NORCOR was without question, we need those positions. They're real. We need to keep them budgeted because we really are trying to fill them. So we decided we're going to use the budget for our projections, and you'll see that in a moment. With all that information, we started brainstorming ideas for solvency. And we threw out just about everything. I mean, we talked about a lot of different ideas, but then we narrowed it to 3 to bring back to our counties. And from that conversation of 3, it actually resulted in 4. So let's talk about those 4.
Do you want me to?
Yeah. So the first scenario you're looking at is we said, what if we didn't do anything? What if we made no changes? NORCOR continued to offer the same services that we're offering now. How much more money would NORCOR need? Now, we didn't go into detail on where we would get that money. We just are sharing with you the amount of money that would be needed. So in that scenario, we used our assumptions now, and the assumptions we used are in the packet. We were consistent with our assumptions in all these scenarios. So we didn't change our assumptions to fit any needs. And keep in mind, in all of these assumptions, the partner county support remained whole. So we kept it whole and we kept it at a 5% increase each year. So if in this one, you'll see the second line down that says partner county support, that's our 4 counties. That 5.4 million is the actual budget this year. So we increased it 5% each year. So what this tells you, this scenario tells you, is without any unknown grants that may come up, right? Because they're unknown, unplanned, they're not dependable. That NORCOR will need, in addition to the resources that you see on here, if we maintained our current operations, we would need an additional $1.7 million next year. And then it increases from there about 10 to 15%. So clearly this scenario would drive the conversation of, okay, where do we get that extra money? Right? That's what would, in my mind, that's what comes from this scenario. Scenario 2 is the next one we're presenting. And this scenario was addressed the question or the comment that was in the assessment. What if we close juvenile? And if you go to the next, so the question about what if we close juvenile brings a host of other questions. Unknown, some known, some unknown, but we don't have the answers to any of them. But what we did do is take all of the numbers in scenario 1 that you just looked at. And what I did is remove the resources for juvenile, and you'll see that up in the resource section where you see all other resources juvenile. And what that means is all of their contracts, like Oregon Youth Authority, right? If we did not offer juvenile services, we would not have that revenue coming in. And on the bottom, the requirements, if we did not offer juvenile services, you see the juvenile corrections where it's 2.5 million for this year's budget. And then you see it's 0 after that. The other item you'll notice is under requirements, right away you have administration. Well, remember we said about 20% of our administration cost is directly related to juvenile operations. So in theory, if you're not offering juvenile services, you can reduce your administration about 20%. And that is what you're seeing is that 600,000 in parentheses, we're reducing the cost of administration by that 20%. The net of this is a very well-funded NORCOR. As you see at the bottom, no additional funds needed, and they end the year with a positive balance of about 480,000. However, this sparked really good conversation because the question was asked, if we're removing the juvenile services, why would the partner counties maintain their full support at the whole amount? And we had really good conversations about that. And one of them was, well, does ending the service mean ending the funding? I don't know. We didn't know. there was opinions on both sides about this, and obviously we felt strongly it was something we need to present. And so we came up with a scenario 2.5, if you will, and that is, okay, if we're removing the juvenile services, let's remove the county support that is currently budgeted to support juvenile services. So in this year, you see our 5.4 million again, which is our county support. In our budget this year, 1.2 million of that is dedicated to the juvenile side. So if I took that amount, increased it by our 5% and reduced it for next year, 26, 27, that's what you're seeing in the parentheses up on the resources and the 1.3 million. And interesting enough, that tells us, which we already knew, that if we have the adult only NORCOR, it is not solvent in itself. Meaning the cost of running adult only NORCOR is still more than it's bringing in. So if we remove the juvenile services and we remove the partner county funding, NORCOR still needs additional money. I mean, almost $1 million. And what the other item about this is, again, all those questions that we don't know, right? We still have a building to maintain, so there's still that cost. What is the cost of maintaining medical and legal records for however many years? We would have employment costs related to closing down, part of the services. We would have some unknown cost to each county, because you still have to care for your juveniles, right? Your responsibility doesn't go away. Just your reliable place to house them goes away, but you still have that cost. So while we see there's a lot of unknowns to this scenario, and it isn't necessarily that golden egg, if you will, right? It doesn't all of a sudden make NORCOR whole with no consequences. And our last scenario that we're presenting, which was also in the assessment, was what if we outsourced as many services as possible in lieu of having staff? And we went through what that would look like. And most of that's shared services, right? And we broke it down. We broke it down by facility, by each department. And what we learned is immediately medical was $500,000 more. So right now our medical budget's about 1.6 million. It was immediately over 2 million. And that did not even include 24/7 coverage, emergency coverage. So we learned that outsourcing some responsibilities probably will be money savers. For example, IT. They've been able to know, our IT staff is retiring anyway, and they were able to negotiate a contract that actually will come in less than it cost for staff. But overall, just this blanket of outsourcing all of these services it was our most expensive option. So we also put that one as not to be considered. And that was really the options that from the assessment, they suggested we look at more. And it was a really good, healthy question or conversation about NORCOR and its services. And so, yes, please, any questions?
Months from the something too.
We just have a question from the audience. How will Medicare for All 2027 impact that 50% medical budget?
So we really can't answer that right now. Incarceral settings are a little bit different just simply because people lose their benefits when they're incarcerated. And while the 1115 waiver was on the table for the state of Oregon, that is not currently an option. And so I know that the state is working on moving forward with a secondary option. NORCOR is actually a pilot for that program, but we have not dug into it yet. So that's a long way of saying we don't know.
Mhm. Okay, second question from the audience. Will the juvenile side be repurposed for adults? And how does that impact the beds?
Yeah, great
Numbers.
question. Yeah, great question. That was something actually that we did discuss with the consultants. There are restrictions on what we potentially can put into the juvenile side if that, if you know, the board decision is to move forward with closing juvenile. Because of its proximity to the adult facility, there are some restrictions as far as how potentially juvenile could be repurposed. So it's definitely something to consider. We just would have to do additional research if that's the direction that NORCOR will be going.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the number. I talked to Sheriff Bencourt about if the juvenile did go away, of course, they would have to, he said it would have to deal with Bend, transportation,
Mhm.
you know, but I don't have a number on that either. But of course, all counties would have to find another place to take their juveniles. So that's probably going to be an additional cost on
Mhm.
what we're showing here also.
So moving forward with the direction on the three scenarios, and you know, some are more logical than others, how will that be done?
Well, I think we're the last county, is that correct, Nicole? To get,
Correct.
of course, yeah. And I would say coming up with our budget and stuff, it's some of this discussion is coming up for the next month or two from
Mhm.
all the represented counties. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To answer your question a little bit more in detail, Judge, really truly, our proposed next steps are to take every county's presentation back for next board session, March 18th, I believe, and really just have a thoughtful discussion about what next steps look like. You know, truly, if depending on what decision is made, the cross-functional committee will need to reconvene and do a lot of research about what potential next steps look like, and then we'll be reporting back to the board. So there's just a lot of layers to this, and
Yeah.
potentially if we're going to undo some of the services that we're currently offering, this is not, you know, an immediate action. You know, closing down a business, kind of backing away from services that have been offered in the past takes time. And so I just really want to emphasize the fact that I do not anticipate anything from a budgetary perspective occurring within NORCOR over the next fiscal year. But again, looking at what is, you know, again, as those financial scenarios that Monica pointed out, this is going to be an unraveling for a few years, and just being really methodical about how we do that. The other thing I would just ask the court today is connect with your juvenile director, connect with Amy. We have other, you know, the other three counties that NORCOR services as well are having those conversations on their levels with their boards and their directors, really trying to understand what the financial impact to each county may look like depending on where we move forward from here. So again, I encourage those conversations. You know, Commissioner Wilkins said he spoke with the sheriff as well. But again, really just making very research educated decisions on what we need to move forward.
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of unknowns. And you know, the other thing to really stress is the juvenile and the adult facility has not had much maintenance done since incorporation. The roof, the HVAC, the door accesses, their radios, the control room. And like I say, they've been running understaffed also, but there's just a lot of challenges coming down the road.
So typically, how full is the juvenile portion of NORCOR?
Do you want total capacity or county utilization?
Just, just a percentage of, is it, I mean, is it full all the time, or is it?
Well, so the juvenile side has a 32 bed maximum, which realistically, probably the most we could house at one time would probably be closer to 24, which is pretty full. Unlike adult, juvenile does have a staff to youth ratio, so it is 8 to 1. And those are things we have to factor based on kind of the clientele, so to speak, that we're servicing. So if we have more high needs, if there's additional classifications that we may not be able, and well, let me take a back up for just a second. When I say classification, that could be a kiddo maybe that's in here for capital murder charges. Are we going to put them in general population with some of our program kids? Most likely not. So that may be a kid that has a wing to themselves at times. They may be in booking or holding. And so those are things we have to consider as far as what our, daily population may look like. Typically, we're averaging right now about 8 kiddos a day. And again, it all depends on whether they are program youth, if they're detention youth, so on and so forth. As far as the county utilization perspective, the 4 counties in NORCOR really, truly historically have been the least utilized. Our typical population is OYA, so Oregon Youth Authority, or even individuals from the Kojak counties, which is the Central Eastern Oregon Juvenile Justice Committee. And so those are typically your Eastern Oregon counties that have higher utilization rates for NORCOR.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nicole, I had one other question. I didn't know, I was just gonna throw this out there to see if any of the counties have discussed possible taxing district with this study being out there. I mean, has anybody mentioned that again? I mean, I know we've talked about it a little bit the last year and a half down there, but that's another challenge to see if,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just curious if that'd been discussed or brought up.
There hasn't been great detailed conversation about it. And really, truly, I think if that is a direction to go, depending on what the NORCOR board decides, that's kind of the next phase of this process as we potentially research what that might look like. And again, as far as the presentations Monica and I've done, it hasn't come up too much.
That's something that would have to go in front of the voters as well, right?
Yes.
And I believe, what was it, 8 years ago they tried, or was it 12?
Feel like I feel like it was 2017.
Yeah.
So it's been quite some time. The unique challenge for NORCOR is it has to pass in all 4 of the counties that we serve. And so it did pass in 3 of them, and unfortunately did not pass in Wasco County.
Yeah.
Wow.
Takes money.
Yes. This is a good report. Thank you for the information. Great
Thank you.
information. I appreciate the analysis. I think entities can learn from such an analysis to study sustainability.
Thank you.
Is
Definitely.
there anything else? Is there anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you very much for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you.
Right, on the agenda going forward. 4.2 fiscal year 26 operational support grant final report from Summit Springs Village is in your packet and online. Fiscal year 26 capital investment grant final report, City of Condon, also in your packet. 4.4, we have treasurer's report. In your packet, you have treasurer's report. Let's go back there. Make sure I'm on the right. So that is 4.4. Would you like to come up? Okay. Come on up. I believe there were some questions about the investment side and maybe the interest.
Okay,
Um,
start with the interest, because that's the big one.
and this is, introduce yourself.
Okay, yeah, hi, I'm Nathan Hammer. I'm Gilliam County Treasurer. And I'm the one that prepares treasurer's report, so let's get into it. So I sent a bank report on 2/25, I believe, which is in your packet. And there was a negative recognized interest for our US Bank safekeeping, which is the account that holds our bonds. And the reason for that, if you go look at the bottom line, the ending balance matches what's on the statement. If you start parsing through there, one of the bonds that we just purchased in the middle of January came up as not available for its value. So I wasn't sure what to do with that or what that even meant. So I reached out to our investment person, Aaron, who I think, is he on? If Aaron, if you have anything to say, let us know, but I'm just gonna go ahead. So I reached out to Aaron and Aaron says, oh, that doesn't even make sense. Like that bond's available for sale today. We paid, $1 million for it. It had some kind of value. So what I did was I prepared this report based on a value of 0, which is extremely conservative. I reached out to our auditors after that, and our auditors explained that 0 is a little too conservative. Use last month's value. Well, there's no last month's value because it's a new offering, and it's a let's see here, it's a Farm Credit Services bond. It's a new offering, so it's a legitimate bond. It's not like so. The auditors told me, look, if the bond broker says that it has value, I mean, you can go see the value today. We don't know what the reason for the anomaly is, but you just need to market to market essentially. So there needs to be, I didn't change anything yet, but what there needs to be done is we just need to recognize that, yes, there was value there. It wasn't a loss. So, well, that's not exactly true. That bond fund did lose money, but it didn't lose, $1 million. It lost like, I lost my paper.
But that was $1 million bond, you said?
Yeah, that was,
Originally.
well, it's not just one bond, it's a
Well,
group of bonds, but yeah.
the
it
value was
a
$1 million.
block. Yeah,
Yeah.
1 million, I must have left him on the desk. No, here it is. $1,640 was the purchase price. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, with the auditor's blessing, correct that so it doesn't show that we have this loss, because it's not a loss. Well, it is a loss. We lost $1,200. I think it's $1,200 instead of. So the bond market is, most of these just trade on news, right? And it's not like it works. It works like the stock market. I mean, they trade, but they
Can we
don't.
see that statement, yeah.
Sure. And this is just a photocopy of one page.
We'll let you study that for a minute before we
Yeah.
go on to.
So it's all the spreadsheet that you used in reverse the interest that you said it was interest, is that going to be reversed?
Yeah, it'll
Is
be
that real life?
it'll be reversed, and then we'll have to post something like this.
So there'll be an amendment.
Well, the way the system works, you just delete it, but it'll be amended, yes. And then I can send you new balance sheet and everything, because it'd be way more instructive than.
So this will be amended instead of just correcting next month, right?
Well,
That's what
that'd be the
that's what
ideal
I
way to
think.
do
Yes,
it.
that's what we
Yeah,
would like to see.
yeah, because it's, so, I mean, the interest, I've got good news on that front too, which we can get to in a little bit, but yeah, basically it's just the interest is posted every month, given the amount of average balance for each fund, so.
So I have questions about, so the child care endowment,
Mhm.
so when did you receive the waste management funds for the economic enhancement
Economic enhancement, we received those last year.
in
And then-
August?
Well, they're distributed, it's calendar year, if you go read the enhancement ordinance, it's calendar year, and then it's a transfer, so they were transferred in August, yes.
Okay. So my question is like when you had the. So it should have shown as money in there as of August, correct?
Yeah, so,
So looking at the detailed ledger, it looks like on 2/17
mhm,
that you posted it for August 1st. And then you debited it back out August 31st. And then posted it again for 12/31.
I'd have to go with detail ledger. I know,
It's right there.
A big part of that was that I make the budget transfers and I make the budget
Yeah.
transfers this month.
Yeah.
For that one.
yeah, so,
Okay.
so Brooklyn and I did have this discussion. I think I know where you're going, but you.
So what I'm saying is that I think that endowment should have collected interest from August
Absolutely,
to December.
absolutely. So,
And instead, it showed it a loss of $13,000.
right, so Brooklyn, I had this discussion with Brooklyn, so. What's happened is since the last time I talked to you, we do have a legitimate interest distribution that runs through the system. So this sheet won't be used anymore, and I gotta go in and reverse all these. And then go in monthly and post going forward. So this problem's gonna correct itself, and then it'll be based on average daily balance, which is way more accurate than this. This is the average monthly balance.
You're
But here's
saying
what-
the
she's-
transfer needs to occur the beginning of time. So that
The
fund
interest.
could,
The interest should have
Yeah.
occurred as from August
Yes.
on, which,
Yes.
and
Yes.
she's absolutely right.
right, you're right.
Yep,
Mhm.
and Brooke and I did talk.
And
about
that,
this,
that
so-
can be solved.
Yeah, it will be
Yeah.
solved. Because what has to happen is this distribution is. It's an estimate, right? So we'll get it fixed.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm really excited, like the interest distribution program they have. Seems to work pretty well. It generates some really funky looking reports, but the output looks good. And it works, it seems to work properly.
This
So
is Cassell's
this is
interest.
Excel, yeah, and this has been something in the making, but this is really awesome.
So you won't have to manually do it then. You can
No,
just-
well, right now I still have to manually do it because we still have some other accounting issues going on, but we're gonna talk about those later.
Okay.
So,
So just when I looked at
Mhm.
just the interest earned,
yeah,
I mean, it showed there was 1,510,717.
yes,
And then it
And-
said, then it subtracted that, almost that same exact
Mhm.
amount, leaving only $698 of interest.
hmm. Yeah, that's the 1.5 million you're talking about that's a conversion problem that we haven't been able to deal with yet.
Okay.
So we're working on it. I spent hours and hours on the phone. I've had 3 people recommend a way to fix it, and it's not something our auditors are excited about, so I haven't done it. I'm,
But when it comes to interest, we have a certain amount in the LGRP, millions, and
Sure.
we have millions in bonds. They're in these two
right,
pools. We know that currently the LGIP is earning 4.160%,
mhm,
and there's $28 million there.
sure,
And I guess my way of thinking too, with our investments, we have to look back, because I asked you,
yeah,
how much did we earn over the last 12 months? I mean, in total.
yeah, and it
And-
was, I sent you a number of $3.578 million in, for
Yeah.
2025.
So that I
Yeah.
want to, for me to
Yeah.
understand it,
Yeah, cause
You know,
what
we have-
happened was it's basically, I mean,
So how much did you say?
$3.5 million for 2025 calendar year.
So the other thing is, I think I asked you when I first started as commissioner,
Mhm.
to show us what we had for money.
Okay,
And then I just wondered, so then I see this bank number 48 and 50.
mhm.
When did those open? Have they always
They've
been?
always been there. Those are the accounts for the treasurer's office.
So, but it's part of the county money, correct? So it should be reflected in financials that we've been seeing all along.
Well, it's restricted funds. It's really not the county's money. It's actually the state. It's just the treasurer's the custodian. There's also Justice Court has an account, Sheriff's Office, and so there's all these
But we're
agencies.
still custodians over all the financial of the county.
It's not even budgeted,
Well, I do think
but I
Casell,
mean, Cassell doesn't.
hold on just a second. I do think on our balance sheet, we're seeing more than we've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
So it shows,
It shows
Those
those accounts
accounts.
now, but we were never saw.
yeah, I think that Shavs, they were taken care of in the back end.
yeah,
Which
and
I think
which is
we're
good.
aware when we're looking at
Mhm.
the balance sheet, that there's other,
Right.
allocated funds and everything
Right.
we can't spend.
Right.
But I still, as a county commissioner, want to know what the total picture is.
True,
Not
absolutely.
And,
what, you
Mhm.
decide that you want to show us.
And I think
So-
we have with Cassell what we need to see. I mean, I think that
yeah, I think I probably good job.
So, and then, so if you look at those two accounts,
Uh-huh.
checking account 48,
Mhm.
and you look at the reconciliation.
Right,
They're messed up.
conversion issue, oops, sorry, conversion issue again, so that.
So no, but it was December and January.
Yeah, so what happened is when we were working on the allocations, we've had lots of issues with allocations. We had to go through and delete all the allocations for the last fiscal year and repost them. And then it changed that one and it changed 68,
48.
48 and 68.
So, yeah, because on this reconciliation, your ending bank balance for December
Mm-hmm,
was 2.5 million. And then when it got to the reconciliation, it was 2.4. It was like a 60-some thousand dollar. Yeah, and then there was, then an outstanding deposit showed up in this one for January.
mm-hmm.
And it showed the balance of negative $4,278.10.
Yeah, it outstanding.
That's a conversion problem?
It
or
is a
that-
good problem. That's there's $67,500 there, right? That was a transfer that was from that account to account 68 for payroll. And what happened was we're going through and we're trying to fix all these, and we being me and Cassell. We got to a point where we had all the main bank accounts reconciled, and that one was where the auditors said, hey, we don't like these type of entries, don't do those. So that one never got updated. So that's one of the things that needs updated, needs fixed, absolutely.
It was cleared in the December reconciliation and that bank account reconciled in December. How is it now?
I don't know the answer to that. Because it did show up and I did catch it when I reconciled last month. So
Yeah,
Was
because
last month's reconciliation changed then? Is that?
if you go back and look at it now, the 67 will show up, but I think it had to do with going back and changing those. I mean, we deleted. Well, it was all the not the reconciliations, all the allocations from when we started to sell all the way to present, and then reposted. But there was weird things showing up on the reports, Leah. There was this, when you ran a general ledger detail, there was like expenses for the road department coming out of the interest account and all sorts of strange stuff. So
That was my recommendation. Sell to just go in and delete all cash allocations.
absolutely, they said they were not working properly.
The new system.
Yeah, but I think they appear to work properly now, I think is the important thing. I think we really are making progress. It's just we need help to work through these last issues, like I can't solve them, I don't know how.
so, and the only time I've ever seen bank balances be off is when something has been changed after it was reconciled,
Mhm,
and then it creates that
sure,
issue.
yeah, something was changed after it's reconciled.
So So it's not journal entered in, it's just what got changed or added? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, well, everything in, Cassell's interesting, like everything in Cassell.
I've
sometimes-
worked in Casell.
Okay.
By the way.
Okay,
I
good.
Worked
Well-
at the city of Condon for
Mhm.
3 years in
Yeah.
Casell, so I'm not ignorant to how Casell.
Okay.
works.
Yeah, I don't have a good explanation.
So the other thing is I really. You know, you can tell us what the bank says, but that doesn't really reflect the true picture of where we're at, because it's not taking away the, you know. The outstanding checks are not, it's not giving us the actual balance of cash that we have.
It's not.
No, because you could have, so for instance, I could have a bank account that has $30,000 in it,
Mhm.
and then I write $9,000 worth of checks.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that means that my checking account only actually has
I
21,000.
think if you look at the reconciliation, it shows you that, doesn't it?
It does, but you just started giving those to us, so
Mhm.
all we were getting before was this. To
Right.
look at.
But we have these now.
Yeah,
we
we
have
started doing
these
this,
now.
yeah.
And that's great with Casell.
So
This is
the
a
other thing
plus.
is when you have Ellen sign off on these,
Mhm.
is she provided with the bank
She-
statement?
She comes to
can
my
pay for
office, looks at the bank statement,
it? Okay,
signs it, looks at the system, signs it, yeah.
so when she initialed off on this one that was wrong, it wasn't noted at that time that it was not $4,000 in the hole.
Well, that's the system balance. And that's because we talked about the 67,500.
Okay,
We also some questions. With that, like if it happens, something that was discussed in reconciliation, just providing that.
Okay, yeah, we could write a note on the bottom down there and sign it. That wouldn't be, that'd be fine.
Something's out of the unusual, it'd
Yeah,
be nice.
Yeah,
Know that the
yeah, and I,
concern. Accurate. Transparent, share that with them, that,
mhm,
okay, you're gonna see loss of interest, but this is why that is.
okay,
mhm.
yeah. I could-
yeah, because I opened that email up and I mean,
Mhm.
my eyeballs about popped
Yeah.
out of my head.
I did, when I sent the email, I didn't really have a good answer at the time either though, so, you know, I was kind of waiting on.
That's okay. I mean,
But-
It's just, in this situation, say, hey, I'm so, you know, this is where I think this is headed, or
Mhm.
I think having that transparency up front.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that.
Right.
So you did send out a letter explaining the agency funds, all
Mhm.
those 600 funds.
Mhm.
I did have a question about, though, there was one that wasn't a 600 fund.
No,
Find it.
I know which one you're gonna ask about, maybe. We'll see.
Let's see if I can find it. 396,
396 is the interest distribution account.
okay.
That's for the general ledger.
Okay. So then, if the. And then it's still, so this was generated January 31st, 2026,
Mhm.
and it still does not show the childcare endowment on it.
The transfer not been made.
It is now.
Maybe the transfer in this February period or July.
Mhm. Yep.
Even though it was posted in the,
Yeah, it was posted in the news.
okay,
Someone listening to my voice and not.
We talked about all the transfers and how we're gonna tighten that up and when we're gonna do them at once.
That's when. So,
because I guess I thought, I understood that those transfers were made in August when. I mean, did all the other entities get their money in August? Like the cities and
Oh, yeah, there would have been a distribution then for that.
in
Mhm.
August, okay.
Yeah.
That's the annual, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the economic enhancement ordinance.
and interfund transfers.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just out of one pocket in the other one. But it's
In-
important the dates are right.
Okay,
yeah. Mhm. And it's earning interest even when it's in
Yeah,
the economic, it's just allocated to, and
Yeah.
yes. Right,
but when we get our stuff updated, it'll be allocated to them.
okay.
So are we moving right into the audit part?
Yeah.
Discussing?
Yeah, I have a couple. So when it showed from this email, did we spend $7 million in January?
Absolutely.
Okay,
You remember we talked about it in the beginning of January, board meeting, $5 million
oh, yes, that's right. Mhm.
plus
Okay.
payroll and everything else.
Got it.
Yeah, and then the other part of it, there might be some of that. would be
That was the PERS investment.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's
So,
fine.
oh, that was the one that we,
Mhm.
Yeah, $5 million. So
Okay.
yeah, it's way out of the ordinary for us. We really
Okay.
don't spend that kind of money per month, right?
Thank you. Are we done with this part of the discussion? Okay.
So
there might be more questions coming.
so to do this, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. You're gonna make an amendment to fix this, or is it just gonna roll over and fix it?
I'll fix it the correct month.
Because that's what I was saying is, so we roll into February's report. Is it gonna show a huge double? I guess that's my question.
No, it shouldn't because it'll be in January, but
Okay.
I'll send you a new balance sheet for January.
I was hoping
That's the only
we
way you
could
could
just
actually
do-
recognize what's
Yeah,
going
I was just
on.
hoping that we could get January
Yeah.
fixed.
The corrected January numbers
Yes,
and
yeah.
then February's.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that seems
So
like
I
good.
know that is that everything we adjusted back to July,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, I can go back to July,
But in January, that was a discussion of staff that once the beginning of the balances from the fiscal year were verified and then. I mean, because the fund transfers didn't occur for those other funds, so that interest allocation is not.
right?
Right. So it would need to be.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get last year put to bed before we start on this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the interest that I proposed came with the caveat that it would be adjusted.
Yeah, it will be adjusted once everything's up and running. Absolutely.
Yes.
Because it's inaccurate. It's the best we can do at this time.
Okay. Do we have anything from the bond person that they were wanting to say, or do we want to move into the audit? Were we satisfied on the bond discussion, or do you want to hear from the person who's online to discuss the bonds?
he's on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
And I'll just say, just to at least the issue of that bond not being ascribed a market value at the end of the month. I've been doing this for 13 years now, almost working with public entities on these types of portfolios. This is the first time I've experienced this with a client where they've bought a bond and then at the end of the month, the custodian didn't provide a market value. I've reached out to some contacts I have at US Bank to try to get some kind of explanation and hopefully confirm that it won't continue to show no market value going forward, because that bond did have a market value. We could have, if the county had needed to turn around and sell it the day after you bought it, we could have gotten bids for it. There's an active market for these bonds. So I'm not really sure why that happened. It was, when Nathan reached out to me and said, hey, why did we see this huge market value swing down, or relatively huge for how these bond portfolios work? Usually that kind of thing only happens if interest rates go up very sharply. And interest rates were fairly calm in January. So it took a little digging. We spent I think almost an hour looking at all the statements and everything to finally just figure out that they had not, for some reason, not ascribed a market value to that bond.
So is that block, are we committed to a certain time frame? Was that?
Yeah, basically the way it is, you buy this, they return a series of payments and then they return your capital to the end.
Because my question was, if they don't fix it, then maybe we don't want to do that with.
Right, yeah, if there's no value to it, how would you, they'd still make payments.
That's my concern.
Yeah, they'd still make payments, I
Right,
think,
right.
but I don't.
Yeah, it's just a very strange situation. Again, not something I've really encountered, where you look at that line item on the statement and it just shows no market value. I don't know why they couldn't provide an estimate, because really what US Bank is doing on those monthly statements is they are purely estimating. It's not like they're going out for every bond and actually going out to the market to see what the market value is. They're taking a bunch of factors into account and producing an estimate for what the market value would have been at the end of that month. Not sure why they didn't have one, and we're working to try to make sure that that's not going to be reflected on statements going forward, because that's going to be a headache. And I, again, for this type of bond, I've never really seen that kind of thing happen before. So
Good.
hopefully should not be a problem going forward.
Can we get your name for the record when the minutes are written? We would need to.
Yes, my name is Aaron Bonk. I'm a vice president and investment advisor with Time Value Investments.
Okay. And do you have that, Autumn? Okay, thank you very much for your help and explanation there. Thank you.
My pleasure.
We want to take care of our public funds. We want to make sure we're growing our public
No,
funds. Yes, thank you.
Preservation's first, growth second.
Okay, do we have Brad, our auditor, on the line? Do you want to come up? Or no? Is he there? Brad? Can you hear okay?
It's not. Okay, yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, good.
I had to get my audio back on and everything.
Okay, so where we are and how do we move forward to solve our concerns with balancing so that we can have a clean set of books and get our audit going. So I'll just allow you to update us on where we're at.
Okay, so first thing, Brad Bingenheimer, partner with Singer-Lewak, and we are the auditors for the county. Well, where we are right now, we have not started the audit simply because currently the records are not in a position where we feel like it would make sense for us to even start auditing the financial statements of the county. And there are really two primary issues that need to be cleaned up before we start. The first one is beginning fund balances. As you know, in preliminary work, we saw that we did see the beginning numbers come over from the prior audit into Cassell, but then there were other entries made into the beginning fund balance accounts, and that you have to start the same place as you ended last year, unless there is some sort of a correction of an error or something like that, which we aren't seeing that. So what we have, I was able to pull out the detail of all those entries that went into beginning fund balance for all the funds, some of which cleared out, during the period, which was fine. But then there was a number of them that did not. And, basically we have to figure out some sort of an adjustment to get those out of fund balance and into their proper place. That's the challenge. I was able to do that for some, but then there were several that I just, it's going to take more time and to figure out where those should have gone rather than into fund balance. So beginning fund balance is one of the issues. The second primary issue is when we look at the balance sheet of all the different funds, they have cash allocated. And that's, how Cassell works is it does everything through a cash allocation. So you have a one fund that basically holds all the cash, and that amount is then allocated to all the funds. And those amounts appear in the funds. But then in addition, there are many funds that have a amount it's currently titled cash on hand. And those are amounts that basically came over from the prior accounting system into Cassell, should have somehow been cleared out, but those have not been. And in some cases, we identify clear errors, why they weren't clearing out, but there's a whole lot of them there. Until those two issues really get resolved, and so we have, the beginning balance is equal to last year's ending balance, and we figured out how to get rid of all those other cash on hand accounts, we don't feel it makes sense for us to even start the audit process.
Okay. So we have obtained the Q90 transfer files, which are going to be key to unraveling this. So we have those now. And So what came in from Shavs, went through Q90 and into Cassell, we have that. And you had asked previously that we get a hold of that, Brad.
Yes.
So, that, to start at square one, you have to know that, correct?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that need to be figured out, so we can properly adjust things. And that is one of the key things, is what really happened with the conversion from Chaz to Cassell. So now that you have that information, that's good information to help unravel this problem. And the other thing, part of this is the challenge is, as auditors, we have to maintain our independence. And of my concern, if we get into this more and more, we begin to more and more kind of maybe creep into that. Are we doing really work that we as auditors should not be doing? That's kind of my concern. And so, the question is, somebody needs to unravel this problem.
Right.
And my concern is, if we do it, we may very well be impairing our own independence.
And that can't happen. So we need someone else.
That's what I would certainly suggest. Now, I had somebody else in mind. I did visit with them briefly about this. They have decided that that's not something that they want to do at this point in time. They're kind of between jobs, and they don't want to get committed to something like this when they're actively searching for a new position. And then I did have a call from another person of the firm of Marine and Company, Tanya Moffett, that I know quite well and think very highly of her. Someone, I guess, contacted them.
Yeah, I'd reached out to about 20 sets of 20 auditing firms trying to find somebody that could help us get this solved. And Tanya Moffett is one that came recommended, and I didn't speak with her. And she asked if she could speak with you, and I didn't see an exception. So,
yeah. So, and Tanya, I think very highly of her and her team. We worked with them on a number of engagements. So they're kind of, somebody known to us. I told her, well, if you decide to take this on, please let me know, because I can provide a lot of the information where I've gotten to. That help them, give and I can identify, here are the specific things that we really got to figure out. So, that's kind of where we are. This is why we haven't started the audit. Believe me, I want us to be out there, completing your audit. We want to get it done. I know you want to get it done. And honestly, anytime you have an accounting system conversion, I've seen so many of them over my career, and it's very, very rare that you don't have issues when you convert accounting systems. Doesn't mean the accounting systems are bad or anything. It just means that, they operate slightly differently, and, there are, just the conversion from one to another, creates a certain amount of potential error. Inadvertent errors, but nevertheless, they have to be figured out for the audit purposes.
Yeah. And if we have any advice in the future about something like this for anyone else, we'll have some input, definitely, regarding documentation and maybe running parallel systems for a while, and the obligation of getting the transfer documents earlier and finding out earlier when things were wrong and getting them taken care of quickly. I think we waited way too long to address what had been going on for 6 months or so. So, okay, so this Tanya Moffett, do we know, is there a commitment from her?
I talked to Tanya. She sent me just a real quick email was all I requested. I didn't request an engagement letter.
But
just,
did she say yes?
she said it, yes, she said,
Okay.
we are interested in the project. And
Okay,
they can start in a few weeks.
could start in a few weeks.
And then the other, I had two others that also were interested. One was Ida Bailey. They have, some people that were interested. And then I came up with, a lady out of Bend named Summer Sears, who came recommended from another, CPA firm. And then I talked to, somebody I know from conference that's a consultant, and I think, to me, they all seem fine. I don't really know any different. I think we should make this decision together and go forward.
So the 3 start times are about the same.
They all said, yeah, I mean, Summer Sears said, March 16th, 17th would be a good start time. The other one had a dedicated team to things like this. I guess they said it happens frequently, so.
Okay,
And they all gave me just prices, general availability, and
okay.
I did this, like I said, it wasn't an engagement letter, just in the ballpark, is this something you can do, and what's it gonna cost per hour, and you know, just a place to start so we can all move forward together.
Okay. So what are your thoughts?
So is it gonna be under the threshold where we don't have to do a competitive bid?
Yes, it will be.
It should be, the one quote was not, the one from Ida Bailey was a little higher. It might be over the threshold, but I don't
What
know.
was her quote?
Well, they said, estimated fees of $25,000, but
Okay,
I don't know that, given what everybody else seemed to think, that seems like a top of the range thing. Maybe if we discuss things with them a little more in depth, they would, reconsider.
And the sooner the better,
Yes.
because
Oh, absolutely.
we're gonna be into audit season and we're not
Yeah.
gonna know.
we need to just move forward.
Yeah.
And I think the best way, and hear what either one, that we should be looking at the person that our auditor.
Yeah, if
There
he's
was a joint
comfortable.
recommendation because there's already a relationship there.
Yeah.
And if that one is
And
under
Tanya's name
the
came,
threshold, let's move that way.
Tanya's name came up frequently when I was talking to the CPA firms.
Yeah. And
She was
so
recommended.
give you a little bit of background on Tanya. So her firm, Marine and Company, they have for many years been in the government auditing arena. But they have made the decision to get out of auditing and go strictly into consulting with governments. So not only do they have a good background from
right.
the audit perspective, but they also, this is what they do now, primarily is consulting with governments. I also know Summer Sears fairly well. We've worked with her in the past. She's the differences, Marine and Company has a little bit bigger staff. Summer is, a sole person. I do think very highly of Tanya. She sits, she's most likely going to end up on the AICPA Auditing Standards Board here shortly. I've worked with her at the Oregon Society of CPAs for a long time on different governmental issues. We've served together on boards at the Board of Accountancy together. So,
Okay.
I can't make a recommendation. You need to go with who you believe, but we do work well with her and her firm.
I think we should move forward.
I think somebody should call her this afternoon.
Yes.
So do we need to make a motion to authorize
Mm-hmm.
the judge to?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion for you to contact Marina Company to assist us with getting our
What was her last name?
Moffett.
Okay.
getting our issues figured out in the swap over.
Okay.
That's not very good.
Accounting transition.
Better word.
Okay.
As quickly as possible.
Yeah, as quickly as possible.
Second.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to contact Tanya Moffett from Marina and Company to enter into an agreement for resolving counting transition issues. Is there any further discussion?
Second.
Okay, yes, as soon as
Right.
possible. Okay, motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. Brad, thank you so much. You got us through, well, the next step, which we needed to figure out.
Yeah.
I think
So-
having everyone in the same room and talking about, you
Sure.
know, who you know, how to move forward was the thing we needed to do.
Yeah, so I hope I have then authorization from the county to have discussions with Tanya about,
have
everything
authorization.
I've done and seen, and, give her the basis of where I can direct her, to dig further.
Yes,
Okay,
you're
thank you
authorized.
for that. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your help.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll get
Okay.
contact information too.
yep,
We,
Thanks, David.
okay,
thank
thank
you.
you. The only thing I think about that is, what if something goes awry? Plan B. The second person that he talked about this summer,
Summer.
yeah. Okay. All right. Moving forward with that.
I don't think we can stress enough that we need to have this done right away.
Right, that has to be part of it, because the further you get behind, the harder it is to do the next audit. So, okay,
Well, and like I said before, it's gonna be hard to go into budget season and no beginning fund balances
Mhm.
too.
I do think at a glance on the allocations, they look fairly accurate to me. As far as just a first glance, they're not super far off from what. I think there's some problems with them, but overall,
So I did go through the Fair Board one
Mhm.
and give or take a few thousand, it's close, and
Yeah.
I gave that
Mhm.
to Brooke.
yeah. Okay. We are to item 4.6, which is a letter we received yesterday from Pioneer Community Development Corporation, supporting Gilliam County Corps pursuing a new housing study for Gilliam County. This was brought up and discussed at our Housing Solutions meeting in January, and then it was briefly discussed at our last county court meeting. In the meantime, I have reached out to the city of Boardman and obtained their study. So we have that. And I think,
So didn't they say at the one meeting that in 2017 that the Pioneer CDC did do
right,
a study? So
Right.
it would be a good thing to get a hold of that.
yeah. Which we have located that here.
Okay.
So I think at our next meeting, we should just take action on if we're gonna pursue it, how are we gonna pursue it, the involvements of the cities. Mr. Stinchfield, did you have anything to add to this letter? The background for what was discussed at the CDC about this?
No, not just others, that the CDC was glad to hear that the county was interested in moving ahead on some housing
Mhm.
possibilities. Given the state's, housing and community services information at that February meeting,
Mm-hmm,
that a study would most likely help move things along.
yeah,
And it's been a while since we've had a study. We know, all of the ball field units are filled now. And they did sit around empty very long.
Mhm.
So we know there's a need, and
Yeah.
we want to be part of.
okay, thank you,
Generally, we know the fund details.
right,
We worked out,
mm-hmm,
review those previous studies, but.
Yeah.
You need to keep moving.
keep the momentum.
Is it a way to advertise or bill how successful that project is? Cause the other end of the county thinks that they're sitting empty because we refuse to pay $1,200 a month to live in there. And I reassured them that they were all completely.
Yeah.
The narrative between north and south is.
These people are.
Now,
Okay, thank you.
But CDC's emphasis, I think, this time around will be a little more on sustainable housing for the local workers. Was kind of the original intent. We went with the situation at the time. So we're kind of hoping there might be a way to get enough resources involved that we can offer housing for people who aren't making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that the Fairway project kind of stalemated, that I think there's, you know, since that one is filled up as it has, I think there'd be more interest in getting that going up there. Could be, I'd love to have a house right there next to the golf course. Just walk out and go golfing.
Last Thursday, we had the special legislative sessions going on right now. So we had a representative contact the three counties, Gilliam, Sherman, and Wheeler, the three frontier counties. And we had a call, also including GEODC and McKed. And I need to check on where we're at with that potential funding earmark, but we were asked to gather together the costs for either a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex in each of our counties, with potential funding of $1 million for each county. So we did that. McKed helped us. I contacted the port. They said we could utilize an address there at Alkali Ridge. So that was the furthest project along that we could quickly, actually we had an hour to get the information to the representatives so that we could move forward with, say, if there's housing money available, we have projects for this housing money.
So Autumn, is Todd Lake online?
Okay. Sorry, that was a little side note with this. So what we're going to do is we'll put it on our agenda at the next meeting. The one thought I have is, where is Arlington going to be with this? It needs to be county and cities and CDC. We all have to have buy-in to make sure that we're all moving in the same direction. So.
Yeah, do you know, I thought they said 2017 was the last one. Was that just at this end, or city of Condon or city of Arlington? Do we know?
It was countywide.
Just
Condon,
just
I
city,
thought it was.
city of Condon. Okay.
Maybe
I think it was county, but.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But East States, we need to have it done for them to pursue any current
state
grants. Yeah.
housing would have to have new city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Housing Community Services may have available funding for the study too. So that's going to be one of the calls we'll make. All right. Let's see. Audit consent agenda. Consider approval of February 2026 bills pending review. That's item 5.1. With all this discussion on the finance, yes,
Thanks, Matt.
I just, we do have challenges, but we also have some very good momentum. We have some great systems in place with our budget. Cassell shows us live what bills have gone to what accounts. If we're using it properly, we can see that, in lifetime, and it's very user-friendly that way. But we also have a good financial report that's up to date, that's provided to you at every meeting. So I think we have developed some good systems. We have a lot more to tighten up and strengthen, but we do have good momentum on the finance side.
It's nice because I went finally, after I got how to get on there, I got on the Cassell online to look at the Fairboard stuff. So
it's very, very nice. And now that we have a full year, well, it hasn't been a full year, but last year wasn't a good example because we were going through the transition and there was a lot of them that were just journal entries. You couldn't see the detail. Now you can see, and I think we should have good descriptions put in, what they are, maybe come up with a protocol of what descriptions we want in these line items.
Yeah, and I think that provided Daleen Wilson could go back and look at her public health and and talk to Nathan and Brooke about. Because part of that triennial fiscal review was her picking things apart because she didn't like where it was put, but when the details say, you know, this was for the last quarter, then that will help tremendously when she has the next fiscal audit, which hopefully won't be in another 3 years.
Huh?
Someone's reason.
Okay, who is that?
Okay, so is it Todd?
No.
No.
Well,
Rob Jury.
it just says wrong.
Okay, Rob Turi, I bet. Yeah, is he unmuted?
I asked.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't know you could do that.
So the only reason I asked Todd to jump online because they were having a discussion about seniors and there was a person that came up with housing options for them. And I don't remember what the program was called, but he talked to me about it and I was wondering if he wanted to share
Oh.
with the course.
Is he unmuted? Okay,
It was just for senior.
Yeah, but it talked about having, like, you could build 4 or 5 units with a central area.
mm-hmm.
I see.
Oh, yeah.
Central kitchen.
And they have money for it. They just looking for property,
Mhm.
according to what he told me.
Maybe he,
Great.
maybe you give it as our next
Wonder if
meeting.
that came through Housing Community Services as well, because she did touch on that at our housing meeting.
Health does not have a challenge with them that says that it was countywide and.
Okay, countywide housing study in 2017. Thank you. Tell him thank you.
Maybe he could get that, some information on that to the court.
Yeah, I told him to go
Or just-
share with the city of Condon. because I know they have property within Condon.
Yes. That's a great idea. Good. All right, we do not have.
Todd's here.
Okay. Did you want to speak or?
I'm here.
There you are.
Oh, there you go. Can you tell the court about what you told me about that housing?
Yeah, I sure can. And I've notified Gib and he is taking it to the city council. Age Plus is a group here in Oregon that really concentrates on the seniors 65 and plus communities and it really works. We've got a group with Wheeler County and Gilliam County that a number of people get together and we just discussed what we're working on. And Age Plus brought up that they've done 3 communities in the valley so far, and they are looking for something out here that they are willing to put duplex units on existing property. The community plan they're doing now is 12 buildings, 24 units, so 2 in each building. And then they have a central building that they're putting in the community that has a meeting space and a large TV and gives the residents of the small community, all seniors, the opportunity to get together. And also we can bring in people to give demonstrations to them and whatnot. But they are funding the actual building of the units. So on Leah's recommendation, I contacted Gib and Gib is taking it to the city council and also to the housing committee that they've got going.
This
Good.
might be a good thing to share with the city of Arlington as well.
Yes.
It's tough, yeah.
The city of Arlington, you know, they have Columbia Hills Manor, but it is income driven. So, that's great news. Thank you, Todd.
Would you like me to send that information to Arlington also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Who should I contact?
It would be, Vicki McKinney I'll get it to you.
Thank you. We'll send Timmy when you have a chance.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Todd.
giving me the opportunity to bring that information.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We have no unfinished business, new business. In your,
Do the consent agenda. Very good.
did we not approve?
Oh, we
Sorry
already
about
have the
that.
bill.
Sorry about that.
I'll
Let's
move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you for catching that. All right, new business, 7.1. This is an exciting project. As you know, and prior to our time, there was some momentum and study of a potential fiber optic project. So we have won through the hard work of Nicholas Green. Is he on the line? Okay. The BEAD grant, it's a $7 million project. 5 million of that would be grant funded. And we're to the point of needing to enter into a grant agreement and project management services agreement for services for the grant. And a proposal has been submitted to the county court. Seems very reasonable to me, $6,000 a month for 24 months, and to manage this entire complex grant. So I'm going to allow you to address the court, Mr. Green.
Thank you, Judge, and good afternoon, Commissioners. This has been a long time coming. It's exciting. The federal government's finally awarded the state of Oregon its $680 million for broadband expansion. And as Judge Patnode said, we've got about $5.5 million in grant funds that have been awarded to Gilliam County. You're in a unique situation compared to the other applicants. Most of the other applicants were internet service providers. In your case, you're not an ISP, and so your role is to basically broker the public-private partnership. So Gilliam County will be providing the pass-through funding for the infrastructure build-out. You'll handle procurement. That's all within the scope of services that I'm proposing. And then we'll handle all the auditing and reporting requirements to the state. The net beneficiary of the infrastructure are your residents and your internet service provider, who will call the ball once the infrastructure is tested and certified, and then they will assume operational responsibility for the network. So all future long-term maintenance obligations, repair and replacement of the network, service delivery to the customer support calls, all is going to be done by the internet service provider. So in the near term, some of the objectives that we've got to reach, some are due by next Friday. We need to get a package of information back to the state so that they can prepare your contract. Once you're under contract, we'll then essentially craft a disposition and development agreement between Gilliam County and the ISP. And it will describe how you plan to jointly develop the infrastructure and then dispose of the network through a transfer of those assets to the ISP. And then their assumption of all of the contract obligations and operational obligations long term. So that's another piece that we need to get started on right away, because there's going to be some back and forth about the timing of that. Another near-term thing that we want to present on at your next available meeting is the timing of the cash flows, total project spend, when we anticipate getting disbursements from the state so that you can prepare your budget for the coming fiscal year to include this project. So a lot of work to do. We're on top of it. Looking forward to the next presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this point in the process.
So on the cash flow, you and I have spoken about, setting our budget with the most potential expense out of this budget, although we may not spend all of that or have the reimbursement. So I think we have a good process. I just wanted the other commissioners to know we're not standing flat-footed, not prepared on our budget on this right now. It would be a 4-year project. And our match would come out of the Economic Development Fund. So just wanted to make sure you're aware of that.
So we have to budget
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years. What he and I spoke about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're budgeting 2 years worth of grant funds and match and 2 years worth of expenses this next year. That's the way I was going to go about it. Does that sound right?
That's what we discussed, and I think that's a smart approach. That way, if we end up ahead of schedule, you're well covered in your budget allocation. At any given time, because we've got a fairly accelerated schedule for the state to reimburse you. So I would anticipate at any given time, you won't have more than maybe $200,000 or $300,000 in expenditure that hasn't come back from the federal grant.
Okay.
Setting aside your match. So we're trying to time this so that the net
Yeah.
inflow and outflow is fairly rapid.
Okay.
But yeah, I think a two-year allocation budgeted each year would give you plenty of cushion if we end up ahead of schedule.
Okay.
So it'll be a reimbursable.
Mm-hmm.
We expend it and then the state reimburses us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the state's already got their money, you said, right? The federal money?
The state has received, I don't know if the money has transferred, but they have gotten the sign off from the federal government on everything they needed in order to do the sub-grant awards to you.
Okay. So
we need to.
we need Nick to help us through this. This is big. Yes. So I don't have a briefing on this. It's just, we'll have an actual contract. This is that you will know that the county court is going to enter into an agreement with you, correct?
Yes, and that's fine for me for now. I just wanted to kind of lay out the approach and what we need to get accomplished in the near term.
Okay. And so that we understand what we're talking about as far as expense to the agreement as well. So that's very, very important. It sure seems reasonable for the amount of work as well. Okay, so that we all understand, I think what we should do, unless we want further discussion, is I entertain a motion to accept the proposal from Catalyst Public Policy Advisors for BEAD grant administration and project management services.
So we could approve that services proposal
Mm-hmm.
and then authorize the county judge to.
Through the contract.
Yes.
Do you want me to do?
Yes.
I move to approve the professional services proposal for the BEAD grant administration and project management services, with, is it
Catalyst
Public Policy Advisors?
Yeah. Yes.
And to authorize the county judge to, enter that agreement.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you. This has
Yes,
been a long time.
it has been a
coming.
long time. Yes.
We're excited to get started. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you. Okay, also under new business, we have 7.2, consider approval of resolution R 2026-02, represented and non-represented salary schedules. There is a briefing regarding this item. And this looks like some cleanup to our salary schedule, correct?
It's an addition of the road department officer manager position to work schedule. Yes, instead of studying over.
Okay. All right. So just keeping pace with what we're doing on the business side and administration side to fall in line with the salary schedules when positions change. So, okay. So do you have any questions about the salary schedule?
No.
Do we have,
It was the same as what the union had, the 3.5% was in their agreement.
Nothing changed as far as the rates. What we did was the office manager position was at the deputy clerk level. Since it's a part-time position, you can't be salary, show salary portion of that. So it's just showing that it's the hourly equivalent of what the deputies make for the office manager position.
Okay.
And the custodian is the same. Right, but it was on the non-represented schedule. She just
move to the difference?
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
I'll move to adopt resolution number R 2026-02 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution R 2026-02 as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Last regular item on the agenda is 7.3, consider approval of right-of-way application Mortensen Construction. Okay, have a briefing from the road department. 2 temporary turning radius on Weatherford Road, 1 temporary turning radius on One Tank Lane.
So they're gonna build it out so they can turn in there easier and then remove it when they're done.
Back to the one. For the whole university, the rebound. Been meeting with them last Wednesday.
Wednesday. And they're gonna go,
It's not gonna be fun meeting them on this before they turn off on Weatherford Road.
yeah, so they'll come Highway 74 and down Ray Road, right? That's the way they're gonna come with their parts.
And then, but then they'll come up Highway 19,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm,
So-
yeah.
So they're gonna do something similar to like what they did down by Arlington, where they gave the space for them to
Yes.
pull out and swing around.
And we'd also talked to them, their construction manager, Bryce, to coordinate if there's any traffic delays that we potentially could use our social media outlet and our website to communicate if there's traffic delays. But they said that's gonna happen over an 8-week period of time.
And we're gonna
Um,
start.
Mhm.
And they'll be done by
Right in the middle of our-
harvest.
Mhm.
Great. The bad thing about the Weatherford Road is when you're coming down, you don't see stuff till you come around the corner.
Mhm. Yeah, so, okay. Any further discussion on this one?
Well, we want them to build.
Yes.
I'll move to approve the right of way from Mortensen Construction as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the right-of-way agreement with Mortensen Construction as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. That concludes the regular business and announcements. Next meeting is March 18th, 2026, 10:00 a.m. Bronquist Building in Arlington. And we have judges and commissioners' comments. Commissioner Wilkins?
NORCOR meeting 19th, just want to let you know, we did approve a contract to get the leased warehouse roof done at a considerable amount of money.
Oh, good.
I think it was 160,000 instead of 240, whatever. And you heard Nicole mention that they entered into a agreement with Wasco County for IT services.
So Wasco County is providing their IT
Yes,
services.
yes.
Okay.
And starting our budget stuff, budget officer calendar. I'm still trying to catch up with Nate Stice on the Cedar Springs bypass. I was trying to meet with him Friday, but he had a sick child, and I'm gonna see if I can meet with him hopefully this Friday. I'll reach out to him.
Good.
The only other thing too, I thought that you guys saw this, the pipeline in Sherman County, they're doing April. I was gonna sign up for that. I think
Okay.
it's kind of interesting. Did you get that?
Oh, yeah, that TC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's they're gonna tour the Kent compressor station on Wednesday, April 1st, so. Anyway, I just thought it
Is
was.
that the same company that the big pipeline goes through from here? I'm sure it goes through.
I'm sure it is, but I don't know for sure.
So it'd
Seems like-
probably be like in the southern part of Sherman
Yeah.
County.
Yeah, but yeah.
On here goes the kid.
Does it?
Yeah, so
Was
it'd be
it?
the southern part of Sherman County.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it might be interesting to go to this, since we've got one coming.
Yeah, and then while you're talking to him, tell him that we need to pipe natural gas to Condon.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so I'm
Please.
gonna sign up for that, but anyway, we have to let them know by March 21st.
Good, good.
I don't know, we're still moving weeks, so I
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Mhm. Anything, Commissioner Watkins?
The Fair Board office is officially gone.
Mhm.
It's, it looks pretty good. So. Been all cleaned up, so
The event centers, I went in, it's neat, it's nice.
it's, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
really nice. So, and the new office, I don't know if you know, Grant, it'll be turned. So it'll sit east and west instead of the north and south that the old one was. So that'll allow parking in the front for the extension and the 4-H when they move in there, so.
Mm-hmm. And that building was beyond repair. It outlived its life.
Oh, the 2 winters ago, I think Sammy had drip pans everywhere in there. She had to finally just move her desk completely away from the
Mm-hmm.
drip area. So, there's pans everywhere.
There's been communication and talks with OSU Extension regarding how do we budget for next year, and what's the amount of money, which we know that they pay the ESD, and how will that all work in the budget, and we have that all going forward, so that's good.
Yeah, because I think Chris got the list from them on what they would like to see as far as the office area
Mm-hmm.
for them to.
So that will save us money, because part of what we pay to OSU Extension covers their rent at the ESD.
Oh.
And this will be providing them rent space at, and we save that amount. It's about $9,200, I think.
Is that what they're in?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Is there anything else?
No.
Okay.
I was just super excited that their office is gone.
Okay, so things going on, planning, we're working on a planning director. Also spoke with Nate Stice about that challenge we have and any ideas he might have to solve that. He put me in touch with a Don Hurt at the state, and we've been talking about options. So what we have is the advertisement that's up. It will run through the 30th of March. So hopefully we'll get some applications and see where we're at. Also been talking to other entities, and we had a private entity come in and ask what they could do to help us. So I think we're going to get through it. It's just, I don't like the fact that it's in flux right now. I want to know which way we're going, but
Which one will be the best?
So we're working on that. House Bill 2089 is the tax foreclosed legislation for selling tax foreclosed property. We got through all of the logistics of how to move through the steps of the statute, because now sheriff's sales are no longer. So one thing that we learned is sometimes when legislature comes along with changes, it creates burdens to the administration, because now we don't have a process that's in an elected official's duties. This sheriff's sale goes away, so it falls on the administration to set up and make the sale happen. So we learned how to go about it. We had to enlist the help of a realtor, because part of the legislation says that the properties have to be listed on a multi-listing service, and only realtors can do that. So we have somebody who helped us get those ads up, and they went up today, I think. They're on our county website. They'll be advertised in the paper for 4 weeks, starting next week. And the auction will happen April 9th on the courthouse steps. So all that information, that April 9th. Yeah. So that's exciting to get some more properties out there on the rolls, and we'll just see how it goes. There will be another property coming that's going through the process through the assessor's office right now. So that's good to get that going. We did have a meeting with Leaning Juniper to be regarding that project, and things like housing. Where are they going to stay? We had the city of Arlington involved to figure out where are these multitude of workers going to stay during this project, and talked about traffic flow, all of those things with the impact of the project. Had a 911 meeting. let's see. We had a court security meeting with the circuit court administrator, Ryan Beach, to get that budget set up. I had a meeting with McCad last Friday, and they asked, it looks like things are really moving ahead. So she asked to make sure that we have funding in our budget. There are some expenses, and there's a separate contract, for example, that Sherman County has for them to do things like grant management, project management. For example, McCad is handling their EV charging grant that they have, where that's a benefit for us. And so I'm going to plug in a certain amount of money for that. And so that's good, and that's moving forward.
So I know originally I was set to be on the KED board, but I almost think it would be better for you.
Okay.
To be on that board because,
sure.
Being up for reelection, I don't know what will happen. I think for the sake of that, getting started and I would hate to see it.
Okay.
Then.
Sure, I'll do that.
Also move.
Okay. All right.
And are they finally at the point where, they let me sit in on a couple meetings, but.
Yeah, I don't think we can actually vote. We can't vote until there's a federal okay.
Yeah, and they still have that on hold.
Yeah, but everything's ready. She thinks it's gonna happen soon.
Yeah, we just need to go dig it out from underneath the pile.
Yeah.
Stick it on top.
So the other thing is, the legislative session, been sitting in on the, Eastern Oregon caucus calls, and couple of good things. One is we'll find out today if there will be a 1 to 1.25% percent of lottery to go to fairs. This has been on the table, off the table multiple times, but I think this time it's gotten further than it ever has. It's passed Ways and Means, and it's passed the Capital Construction Committee, and it's now being voted on the House and Senate today, I think. So that will amount to around 500 to 550,000 for the biennium. And I don't know for sure if that's continuing. It would start in July of 2027. So that would be great for fairs. It all ties in with the fair, the event center, potentially the RV park, to make a real economic development, project going there. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you guys as the fair board, but I think that would be great. And get some
And I
money
think
behind.
my understanding was originally it was supposed to be a certain percentage that went to fairs, and I think the legislators at some spot along the line said, oh, that's just too much money to the fairs, and so I think they dialed it back. They're just basically giving them what they should have been getting all along.
Yeah.
So. And yeah, like you said, there's fairgrounds that are in dire straits that need that money.
The other thing is the transportation funding, the vote happening in May rather than November, on the transportation taxes. It looks like there's some activity on that. Everything was just kind of in limbo. There was discussions, maybe a lawsuit being filed regarding the May vote, so it'd be pushed to November, but all of that was in. Everything was in a position of not knowing at that point yesterday when we had the call. There is some legislation regarding a data center bill, a prosperity bill, and there's potentially going to be another $1 million for wolf compensation to be funded through an increase in the transient lodging tax of 1.25%. So that's what's going on. Sine die potentially is going to be, end of session would be Friday or Monday. Official end of session, I believe, is Monday, the 9th. So
they added to the pot on the wolf.
Yes, and
So
I'm not sure if that's
may get everything we asked for and not just half of it, because I think we thought at the time that we would request the 16, hoping that we would get 8.
Right. So we'll see where that ends up. I didn't have complete information to know if this is the way it's looking or if this has been finalized. but, and the housing bill we talked about before with the 50 rural acres, that went down. That didn't happen. So, but there seemed to be some momentum for that maybe coming back in the general session. So that's
on the longer one.
yes. That's all I have. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Okay, if not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.